Yes. Hello.
It's one of
Here,
these videos.
it's one of these videos. Yes. Here we are, at the start of something new and amazing. Oh my goodness. How we have waited for this. We're gonna play Planescape, folks. Yes, it's true.
And
Um,
for those people who have no idea what Planescape is, you might best know it from hit games such as Planescape Torment.
yep. The the best RPG ever made, according to all the people. And
I
what
haven't played it.
I have, but I've never finished it, and Uh, I will. It's on my list. Like one day I will sit down and play all of Planescape Torment. The problem with that
But
game is it's so dense. It is so dense. So
but Rahal, after you play this, you won't need to finish Planescape.
yeah, so I would know everything there is to know about
Yeah.
Planescape. It's true. Um, so yeah, Planescape. What is Planescape? Sheep, give us a quick
So
review.
in D&D, you know your standard adventures where you are like in a place and there's nobles around, presumably, and bandits and forests and plains and all those things.
Uh-huh.
And eventually you meet less material things like angels and demons and devils and
Uh-huh.
uh, all kinds of things. And those too live somewhere, which is in the multiverse, in the planes above, so to speak. And Sigil sits, well, depending on the depiction that you choose to believe in, pretty smack dab in the middle. It is
Hmm.
the city of doors, protected by the Lady of Pain. It has portals to every place you can possibly imagine, from the Abyss to Mount Celestia, from, you know,
Hmm.
the most terrible place to the most amazing places in the universe. And yeah, it is a neutral place where demons, devils, and devas, and angels, and archons alike walk the streets and do their business and interact and such things. And of course, there's plenty of, in quotation marks, normal people around as well.
Hmm.
The city is a mishmash of all the different styles you can imagine, sort of forced together by the ever-present presence of the supposedly infinitely strong Lady of Pain, who makes sure that nobody messes with their city, not even the Blood War.
Hmm. Yeah, because Planescape or like Sigil sits in the middle of everything. It is the linchpin of the multiverse in a way that it sort of exists nowhere and everywhere at the same time. And there's a lot of creatures and people go there to do all kinds of weird stuff. And as you say, it is sort of a neutral place. The normal wars and battles and stuff can't happen in Sigil because Lady of Pain won't allow it. Um, that said, it is a enormous city in the middle of the multiverse, and it is rife with intrigue and secrets and dastardly plots and things like that.
Yeah, the thing about the City of Doors sigil is it's I might have made it sound like a perfectly peaceful place, but in reality, as long as you don't hit that threshold where the Lady of Pain suddenly cares, you can really get away with whatever you're strong enough to get away with.
Hmm.
Although usually the issue is that things are not as they seem, because that old man walking the street is probably not just an old man, but can disintegrate your face at 600 feet, and those things.
Yeah, the thing is that if you run into people in Sigil and they sort of survive and thrive in Sigil, they're probably something fairly special.
Or they're
Um,
just really, really lucky,
or they're really lucky. Yeah,
or really good at pretending that they are strong.
that's true. That's true. So yeah, it is a very interesting place. Um, I have never played a campaign in Sigil, so this will be. I've visited it with different characters very briefly here and there because it is a campaign setting that usually overwhelms you a lot. It is uh, since it is a place where literally anything can happen almost. Um, it can be quite difficult to get a grip on, and the city is weird. Like it's a donut. The city is like donut shaped. which means that it sort of curves in on itself.
Yeah.
Um,
And nevertheless, it still rains.
yes. So, this is already mind blown everywhere. But yeah, as I far understood it from your ship, this will be a sigil-focused sort of planar city campaign. Yes.
Focused, but perhaps not exclusively.
Hmm.
There will certainly be lots of city exploration and intrigue and faction conflict to have, and occasional adventures to other places.
Yeah, I mean it is the city of doors, so I imagine we will go
Oh,
through a
absolutely.
few of those from time to time. So yeah, um, yeah, and we're gonna play this with Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition.
Yes, it is an odd mix because Planescape's setting is mostly from 2nd edition.
Yes.
Sort of disappeared in 3 and 3.5 edition,
Mm-hmm.
resurfaced a bit in 4th edition. But we're gonna do things mostly the 2nd edition lore way, because in 4th edition they sort of squished all the planes together and it's really like vague suddenly. Whereas in 2nd edition, I really like the way they did it, where they have the so-called Great Wheel, where all different planes are sort of in a wheel shape, more or less stitched together. They're still infinite, of course, because those, stitched together doesn't mean anything really.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I like the different places. I don't like the way 4th edition did it. Basically, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and so yeah, we're going to use 4th edition also because Planescape is a high-powered setting. You usually go to Planescape fairly late in a normal campaign because it is such a fantastical, amazing, outrageous place that you can't really go there with normal characters at low levels. Like they simply won't last. But in 4th edition, you already start as something of a hero with the heroic tier. So it is feasible that low-level heroic heroes from 4th edition could have gotten to Sigil and can thrive in there. So that's also one of the reasons why we sort of picked it.
And also because we haven't played it much before.
Yeah, we've done Summer of Fun, and we have done an adventure Keep on the Shadowfell, and those have been our fairly short outings in 4E. And then we had the 13th Age campaign that you ran cheap. That 13th Age is sort of an updated, more streamlined version of 4E, but
I
shares
took a lot of inspiration from it, at least.
yeah, and yeah, it's more of a user-friendly 4E, I would say, like in how it works in a lot of things. And I just also like 4E a lot. There is a lot of really fun stuff you can do in 4E. Opens up for interesting tactics and yeah, just fun things to do. And so yeah, we're gonna give it a spin. You know, I shall. It is a setting or a system, I should say, that allows you to actually become a demigod by the end. And one of the few settings that can handle a demigod party would be Sigil and Planescape. Because look at this mess. Just look at this. Oh, what a place. So yeah. The characters and such, we don't have the rest of the people here because everyone is busy or working or sick or whatever other excuses they might have. So I thought I'm gonna run through like a short presentation of the players and the characters they will be playing, and then we can sort of talk a little bit generally again about the setting and stuff after that. Yes. So 4th edition, which means that we have 4 roles for characters. We have leaders, defenders, controllers, and strikers. And you generally want to have at least one of each in a party, and we do. So starting from the left here, we have Bulwark, the warforged Paladin, the party defender. Will be played by Halldamir, who has certainly played Paladins before, and as far as I know from him and his notes and what he said to me, Bulwark is he's a lost war machine in a way. He sort of was involved in a lot of very horrific war and conflict, but then kind of got forgotten or left behind, or maybe became self-aware and realized, the horrors of war he had committed and sought penance, I think. You might correct me here if you want, Sheep. I'm not actually sure if you know more than I do.
The way Bulwark ended up in Sigil was that he was captured by a Rakshasa for her zoo. However, that stay ended up being rather short-lived, and then he was on the Grand Bazaar. Not entirely sure why he got thrown out the zoo.
Well, so there we have it. A lost, wayward, warforged paladin of... I forget, but he's venerating one of the gods from Eberron that I don't know, because they're all special and are named strange things that I'm not familiar with.
He worships Dull Dawn. I believe he's the god of war. Or something akin to that.
That seems perfectly fine. Alright, well, after that we have Thorfin, which is the character, the dwarf invoker that Neil / Valky will be playing. So Invoker is something of a new-ish class. I think it was like introduced in Place Handbook 2 or something. But yeah, the Invoker is a divine controller, focused a lot on, at least the version he shoots like a malediction Invoker, which means that he will do a lot of stuns and dazes and stuff like that, and also will hit himself with those effects when he casts the really powerful stuff. And as far as I know from Thorfin, he is a invoker of Selune, the moon goddess, born under a full moon in Gauntlet Grim, under with great omens and auspices surrounding his birth. And he the divinity of him, as far as I understand the lore of invokers, is that they are sort of a direct connection to their god. They have like a divine spark in them, while a cleric uses devotion and study and stuff to channel the powers of the gods. The invoker is like a little part god. There's like a little splinter of godhood in them, and so they manifest these powers as a result of their heritage more than their study. A sorcerer-esque approach to it, if you will. But yeah, he ended up in Sigil via inheriting a poetry book from his father, while his brothers got all the gold and weapons and fantasticness of the family estate. Thorfin was left with a small book filled with poetry, which made him pretty pissed, but then he discovered that there was a lot of strange riddles and omens and stuff in the poetry, and they led him to Sigil. He managed to find a portal and get there following the instructions of the poetry. Currently he is in the Great Bazaar as well, sort of on a bit of it lost, because he doesn't know where the next line points him. The line he's currently mulling over is the early March spells disaster. What are they searching for? The Oathmaster. And he doesn't know what that means, and so he has taken into a pub trying to digest Sigil and what it means, and trying to find his way. That's for Thorfin. Now, for the next character, Garel-Kai, a genasi storm sorcerer, I think focused on lightning, which Jake will be playing, our lone American for this adventure.
As usual.
As usual. Jake dives in. And yeah, he is. I don't actually know exactly how he ends up here. He's a genasi, so I imagine he can have come here through the front door almost. You know, can sort of have waltz in. Um, Being a storm sorcerer and a manifestation of the storm, he is fairly quick-tempered and mercurial. Um, and he has sort of a two odds, Jake has said, because he has a wind soul and a storm soul, and these like dual nature sort of combat in him for dominance from time to time, so he can be a bit, yeah, mercurial. Yeah, he's got to be our blaster, our striker, doing lots of the damages to things, and I'm sure it's going to be great. Then we have Zathran. Oh. Another genasi, earthsoul, ranger, dual wield melee ranger, who's going to be played by Manaki. This guy I don't know too much exactly why he is
No, I
here.
can probably cover you.
Sure.
Because Zathran is an Earth Genasi who mostly grew up on the elemental plane of salt, which is about as terrible as you can imagine. His family settled there to just get away from things. He was the oldest of 3 siblings. His 2 sisters being water genasi, with him being an earth genasi, which was a bit odd. He eventually, in his teenage rebellious years or so, got into contact with a group of Doomguard who were stationed, or at least spending their time on the plane of salt, got talking with them, and sort of, agreed with how they think. And eventually, he longed for more. He wanted to see what the world is all about, and decided to follow said Doomguard to Sigil.
All right, and he is
where you spent some time.
Yeah, and he is our second striker, so we have 2. And that leaves, of course, last but not least, my character, Reyes, the Tiefling Warlord, who is a refugee, a deserter from the Blood War, where he was a combat thrall to one of the archfiends. He fought on the side of Hell in the war. And he staged his daring escape with him and some of his closest friends, like blowing up half a legion, but getting out in the process. And now he is sort of on the run, trying to hide, and hope that the archfiend doesn't really, have bigger fish to fry than him, and so he wants to lay low for a while in Sigil. After faking his death, and it's a whole hullabaloo how he got here. And he has also taken up refuge with the Doomguard, thinking that if someone comes after him, at least the Doomguard might back him up a bit, or maybe he can hide in the fortress, the big armory that the Doomguard preside over. And the Doomguard is a military hierarchical organization, which fitted Reyes fairly well. Being a battle slave in Hell's legions certainly makes you comfortable, or at least used to command and like hierarchical military structures. He is a bit of a he's a bit of a mischief maker. He certainly did not like the Blood War, and he is certainly not a fan of going back. And so he just finds he's just looking for something better. He doesn't want his life to be thrown away in an endless meat grinder. He just wants to live in peace and preferably die in peace. Although, him being fairly good at fighting and a good tactical mind, maybe he realizes that won't be the case for him. But for now, he can dream and hide out also in Sigil, hoping for the best. Yeah, and I think that's our 5 characters. Maybe now we should also quickly mention the factions in Sigil, because they do serve an important role. I think.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Sigil, as I've mentioned before, there is the Lady of Pain, the undisputed ruler of everything, but isn't really a ruler. She isn't really a person. She's more of an apparition to most, really. Powerful to the point where even the gods stay out. And if any creature, whatever it may be, gets uppity, he gets banished to an infinite maze deep within Sigil somewhere. You know, Troublemaker just rounds a corner and suddenly you can never get out of the alleys again.
Yep.
So, yeah, Sigil's fairly safe from the really, really big bad people. However, there's plenty of small fish who have managed to thrive rather well.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much law in Sigil as people actually care to enforce, and that's sort of all in the faction's hands even. The factions, I'm scrambling to look for them. There we go. There's a couple of them.
There's a big number of factions actually. That's quite a lot, because in Planescape, like there's so many gods and devils and stuff. Like they have their worshippers, but those worshippers are generally on other planes, or they're in material plane or something like that. But in Sigil, it's more of you sort of adhere to an idea or a philosophy more than a god.
Oh yes, and what you believe in does have a palpable effect. Sigil is, I mean, it is in the multiverse where the gods exist, so obviously strong belief has strong consequences.
Yes.
So each of those factions sort of always tries to get more people to believe in what they do. One, because it's obviously the right thing to believe in, and two, it gives them more power. There's still sort of a balance between all the factions going on with Sigil, mostly because the city is really big, but most importantly because any faction getting too ambitious will probably just be deleted by the Lady of Pain. So it's a rather dangerous game the factions are playing with each other, constantly fighting, but never really wanting to escalate to the point where they annoy the Lady of Pain. Yeah, the factions you have, if you want me to give a summary, are the Aether, who believe that gods are just mortals and don't actually exist. They might be powerful and such, but they're not gods. They believe that to the point where most abilities that are entirely divine in nature, like divination, just don't work on them. Not exactly the opposite, but fairly believing are the aptly called believers of the source, who believe that everything is a test. Not necessarily a test by a specific god, just everything is a test, period. If they fail, if they die, they just come back. It's very extremist Buddhist, not Buddhist, sorry, Hindu, I think it was, who believe in reincarnation. Although I might be terribly wrong and have just offended millions of people, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry.
I'm just trying to do comparisons.
Yes.
Of course, in the terms of extreme beliefs, there are, of course, those people who, nothing makes sense. It's all just a cruel joke. Why do anything? Which is entirely the MO of the Bleak Cabal, also called the Madmen, who just say the multiverse doesn't sense and it's not supposed to. That's their motto. It's pretty great. The faction that has the most representation in the group currently are the Doomguard.
Yes.
If you ever heard about the heat death of the universe that is supposedly inevitable, the Doomguard are sort of trying to make sure it is inevitable, because that's just how things are supposed to be. People die, rocks erode, stars fade, things melt away. Just that's how it's meant to be. And anyone working against that is working against the natural order. And that doesn't work. There's also one probably one of the most odd factions, although each of them have their oddities, which are the Dustmen, who believe that everyone is already dead. There's just some people who are more dead than others. But, everyone has already died. We used to live somewhere else where we were alive, but now we're absolutely most certainly dead. So, yeah. They are sad people. And, of course, one group that in their ideology is always represented in every place, although under different names, are the Fated, who believe that the multiverse belongs to those who can hold it. If you're strong, you just take what you need. And if you lose something, well, you weren't strong enough to keep it, so you don't deserve it. They are, among their many nicknames, are also called the Heartless.
Yes.
For good reason. Then there's the Fraternity of Order, and in this oddly British town or city of Sigil, also have the nickname the Governors.
Yes.
Who are all about the laws. Everything has to have laws, If it doesn't have law, it doesn't exist. And if everything has laws, that means you can find loopholes. And that's what they are all about. If you know everything about something, you know the loopholes. That's how you get power. Not exactly a faction, but still sort of a faction is the Free League, also called the Indepts, because they are the independent. They all do their own thing. They don't really have a leader or headquarters or anything, but they sort of agree that generally trying to stand up for each other might not be a bad idea, because if you don't, you just get killed.
Yeah.
So they're a faction that really refuses to be a faction.
They are the free spirits, and I think Thorfin, Valky's character, is actually part of the Free League.
Yeah. The Harmonium, which are a rather, not a polar opposite to the Doomguard, but very close, also called the Hardheads, because they always walk around in armor, have a neat idea to them, because they want just everything to be in harmony and get along with each other. But, of course, they want everyone to get along their way.
Yes.
Anyone who disagrees obviously is against harmony and against good and has to be destroyed. Wars are fought so that there can be peace and harmony. That's what they do. And where there's war and peace and laws and such, there's of course people looking for justice. The Merciless,
yes.
also known as the Red Death, think that justice is absolute and perfect, but it has to be correctly applied. If you know what they mean.
Yes, that's the key.
If you break a law, if you do something wrong, if you do evil, well, not evil, it's like a
just break the law. Right?
Matter of perspective. There's no mercy. The mercy is that you will be purified of your injustice.
There you go.
Every crime must be punished according to law. And there are no such things as extenuating circumstances. You steal a loaf of bread because you were starving, well, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have stolen. And where there's factions, there's of course people who dislike factions.
Yes.
Which is the Revolutional League, which, oddly enough, is a faction. Also known as the Anarchists. They are just trying to bring change. They don't like the factions. They want everyone to do their own thing, and for that, they have to destroy the factions. Tear down the old factions, throw them, shatter them, break their power.
Yes.
That's what's got to be done.
Viva la Revolution.
Exactly. Another faction is the Sign of One, usually referred to as the Signers, because it's easier to say and sounds less narcissistic. They are entirely about narcissism.
Oh.
Yeah, they think that every person is unique and different, But everything also centers around the most unique thing, which is yourself. Yeah. Each signer is, in fact, the most important person in the multiverse.
Well,
Because the universe only exists because it's being imagined by the people living in it. And therefore it has to have had a beginning, which was of course caused by yourself.
oh, well,
Yeah.
there you
go. The last two factions are the Society of Sensation, who are all about trying new things, especially tastes and other sensible things, things that can be sensed.
Yes.
And if there's nothing to be sensed, then you're not really alive, are you?
It's true.
And the Transcendent Order, the Ciphers, whose MO might remind frequent watchers of someone, because they refuse to, they think that the purest form of expressing oneself, the purest form of thought, is to just do exactly what you're thinking right this moment. Yes. No filters, no barriers. Do exactly what you're thinking right now. If you are questioning your own actions, then you've already lost.
Yeah, they're doing it wrong.
It's just hesitation, doubt. Those things don't help anyone. Just do it.
Yeah. YOLO.
In a sense, yeah. The last faction are the Chaos Detects, the Chaos Men, who think that, well, most people believe that the multiverse was born from chaos and eventually just ordered into nice little pieces that turned out to be the planes. It, in fact, is chaos. There's no order, there's no pattern. The meaning of life and the multiverse is, who knows? It's chaotic. Everyone just does what they feel like. There's no pattern, so why bother looking for one? Anyone who tries to apply any order to anything ever is just wrong, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chaos is beautiful.
Well, there you go.
And the last sort of faction are the outsiders, the clueless. Sigil is the city of doors, which does not only mean it has doors inside it, but rather doors leading to places. It also has a lot of places leading to it. And stumbling into Sigil can happen to anyone at any moment. The portals are finicky things. They might appear that moment and just transport you to Sigil. They might have always been there, but needed a specific trigger, like a rose petal while whistling while walking backwards, and then you end up in Sigil. Anyone who just sort of shows up in Sigil is generally considered to belong to the clueless, the outsiders, because they're in fact outsiders who are clueless.
Yes.
It's not a good faction.
No, it's a bad faction. Yeah. So a very complex city, a lot of factions, and a lot of potential for madness and adventure. So yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to this. Our plan is for this to take the Friday slot, which means that it will be running every other Friday, at least. During the summer, we might pick this up and run it every week. I'm not sure if we got a absolute confirmation on that, Sheep.
We'll see.
We'll see.
That's the goal.
Yep, that's the goal, but we'll see. Because during the summer, people have a little bit more time, and hopefully we can do that. We want to sort of kick this into gear and get it started, so it has a good foundation when we go back to normal after the vacations and such. But for now, we will have our first session on the Friday of the 29th of June, where you will see it streamed as usual on Mixer, on my channel, mixer.com/Rahal. There will be links and stuff down below. And yeah, we'll take it from there. It's going to be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to this a lot. So hope you are too, watchers, viewers, and we'll see you there, I think. Right?
I'll be there.
Excellent. See you there.